Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one. Working hella hard until I get just what I want, yeah. Rises like the sun, yeah, fatal like a gun. Shooter's gonna shoot and I'm gonna shoot until I won, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win, yeah.
Hey everybody, how are you on this Sunday? Thanks for joining me. I had planned on going live later when I get back from family stuff, but I thought it would be too much with the members only live later, so I actually, because having to turn the clocks back, I was up exceptionally early this morning and have already started laundry, and then I also cleaned the mama's room, kitten room, vacuumed and got stuff sucked up, extra hair laying around, things like that. And then I'm supposed to be doing the hallways and the laundry room, but this sounded more fun. So I am procrastinating. But I really wanted to tell this story and another story of three friends who were driving home from a concert when they now believe a suspected drunk driver ran a flashing red light and killed all three of the girls. So, and then lastly, I have a story out of Utah that it's a runaway semi, more like a dump truck. It was a dump truck with like a trailer hooked onto it or an extra container. But that was crazy. So we're going to save that one for last. And as I was waiting to go live, I was reading some of your comments, and it seems like a lot of us are affected by either drunk drivers, reckless drivers, just, people not taking into account other people's lives. So Gina was the first one here. Good morning. Runs with scissors. A Mac. Rowdy. Deborah, happy Sunday. I'm actually glad the morning seems unusually long because usually it seems like it's super quick and before I know it, it's time to get ready for work. But it'll be cool this week because we have no students Tuesday and no school on Friday. So it's going to be, even though it's a short week, it's probably going to feel really long. And so Amy says, my mother was hit by a drunk driver in a head-on collision on her way home from working her night shift as a nurse and had to be taken by ambulance back to where she worked. The driver was 17 and didn't have the right of way. That's terrible. Hey, Karen. Amax says, when I was 15, my best friend was killed by a drunk driver. She was in the car with them. One person survived because they were ejected from the car. It ripped in half. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. Hey, Stitching, Bitching, and True Crime with Taylor. Oh, Amy, the accident happened in the 1980s to my mom, and she had to stop floor nursing. I was a teenager when it happened. My father got a call in the middle of the night to get her. She had a broken nose and a very injured knee. Her seatbelt saved her. Thankfully, nothing more serious. Scary. Oh no, Karen, still traumatic. My late husband lost his baby brother the night of his graduation. He was passed out in the back seat. They were racing someone and went down an embankment, broke his neck. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Oh wow, I didn't know him then, but my hubby told me he had to go ID him. There were 3 boys in his family. Now they're all gone. Just his 2 sisters left. Yeah, and Amy, I can see being angry. So Amy said, I was angry that my father didn't wake me and my sisters up to tell us what happened. I woke up to seeing my mom in bed all bruised up. Hey, Remy. Yeah, it's sad. And when in both of these cases, when you see the cars, it is terrifying. And for those of you who have been with me for a while, several months ago, I did a live on the friends who were going to, they were out, like, not really a bachelorette party, but it was the night before their friend's wedding, and they were all out having fun, and they were also hit by a reckless driver, suspected drunk, who hit their car going at least 100 miles an hour. All of them were killed, and it just doesn't seem to stop. Hey, Patricia, K. Braze, Spudler, good morning. Remy, I'd love to know where people get the extra hour of sleep because I don't get one. And I went to bed like normal time, but I woke up at 5 this morning, and I was like, okay, no. So I fed the cats and then I went back to sleep. Excuse me, I'm yawning now. And got back up at 7. So, Spudler, migraines are no fun. Hey, Kit, how's it going? I saw you had a live about Layla yesterday, and I did watch for a little bit. I was lurking, but I have to finish it today. It's on my watch later list. Yes, Budler, I am going to be talking about that case in Northridge, California. Hey, T-Berry. Yeah, I don't know, I feel like when we fall back, I feel like I get more done, but in the spring, when we lose that hour, I am so discombobulated, and it's it's rough. I feel like they should just leave it alone. Oh, wow, Gina. Laundry, painted, vacuumed, mani-pedi, few other chores. Yeah, I mean, I should have gotten more done, but I'm like, it'll be there later, so oh gosh, Team Brittany. A fatal times 2 victim tragedy that happened because the guy thought it was cool to drink and drive. He got 6 months. That's it. Unbelievable. And I'm sorry, cars are deadly weapons. The punishment should be much more significant than what it is. Hey, Blink. How's it going? Patricia. Oh my gosh, I was hit by a drunk driver and my car flipped 2.5 times. Holy crap. Remy says, other angle, I was 22 and made that mistake to drive intoxicated. Thankfully, for not only myself but others more so, I wasn't involved in an accident. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Stifler's mom. I am so sorry. Hey, little dove. Basic Brooke, good morning. Hey, True Texan, long time no see. Oh my goodness. I've seen a TikTok of a mother. All 3 of her children were killed in a drunk driving accident. Alcohol being legal before marijuana has blown my mind now. Guess depends on what you can tax. Oh my God, how awful. Oh, wow, Remy. 4th of July. If there wasn't a side street I turned down, I would have been grabbed by a checkpoint. Yes, Tonka Grill was in Minnesota. I believe it was in Minneapolis, which is, I believe it was Minneapolis, Minnesota, where that was. I believe there were 5 friends, if I remember correctly. I'd have to look back, but yes, there were 4 or 5, and one of them had just graduated high school. Yeah. And the car that hit them he was on an off ramp and never stopped at the end and hit them, like T-boned them, and they hit a pole. Hey, Truth Seeker, how are you? Hey, Chronicles of the Shady. Go to work in the dark and come home in the dark. That's how it used to be for me. Now, thankfully, I will get home just before it gets dark. I noticed the other morning, it must have been Friday morning, I was leaving for work and I'm like, why is it still so dark out? It's just, it's just so unmotivating to go to, like, to go out and go to work. Hey, Kathy P. Spitfire. Yes, Tonka Grill. I'm trying, actually, you know what? I'm going to Google that really quick because yes, it was 5 friends. So it was Minneapolis and I'll have to look at it more, but I'm pretty sure the kid who did, well, the guy, yes, city councilman. No, not city councilman. But he was gosh, now it's coming back to me. He had been something, but then he wasn't any longer, but yes, he was some kind of politician. Yes. Kathy. It was actually really fun. I'd never reviewed Dooley before, and I mean, it was a short live, which made it even better, but it was fun. It was fun. Hey, Rapper. All right, so we're going to get started. So the first story that we're going to talk about is that of the LAPD officer who he was off duty, who was in the car with a passenger and a San Bernardino deputy who did survive. He has a broken hip and some other injuries, but he is expected to be okay. And the driver of the car, the alleged drunk driver, it was stated that his passenger was able to get out of the car unassisted, which is mind-boggling because when you see where their car ended up, it's amazing anyone made it out alive. But sadly, the police officer and his passenger lost their lives. And again, this took place in Northridge, California. So I have 4 clips on this story. The third one is the press conference. That's a little bit longer. It's about 12 minutes, but it gives a lot of information. So we're going to check that out. And then I have another story about 3 friends who were killed by a suspected drunk driver who ran a flashing red. And then lastly, we have the runaway semi that took place in Thule, Utah.
In Northridge this morning. 2 people are dead and 3 seriously hurt after a horrific crash. KCAL News reporter Rick Montanez is live in Northridge with some new information. Rick.
Yeah, Rachel Sheba, this is a horrific scene out here, and the wreckage is just all over this intersection behind us here. We are on Lindley Avenue, just south of Roscoe Boulevard, where that crash happened just about 5 hours ago. 2 people killed, 3 others injured, and they are waiting for the medical examiner to arrive as these officers are out here trying to figure out what caused this crash. We can show you some video from this morning just after the crash when these 2 cars collided. One of them sheared off a fire hydrant.
And so you can see, this fire hydrant was just, and then this white car just to the left of the water, that is the car that the police officer, the deputy, and another passenger were in. The other car, which you can faintly see, ended up between a tree and an apartment complex. So I have my kitty right underneath the wheel. So that is the wheel of the car, and we will see a better view of that.
Sending water shooting high into the air.
So you can see here is the car that caused the collision, and they ended up between a tree and this apartment complex, and they did end up going somewhat into the kitchen of the tenant who lived there. And I did not realize that the fireman was actually helping someone there. That, in my opinion, is probably the passenger of this car who was able to escape unassisted.
LAFD says in addition to those 2 people who died, 3 others were trapped in the wreckage. They had to be cut out of the cars. One of the cars we could see here at the scene, the roof of the car had to be cut off. LAFD responded here, and they were able to get those 3 people to the hospital, all of them in at least serious.
Oh my gosh, really, Lisa? You live off Roscoa? This was 3 blocks from your house? Oh my gosh.
Condition, according to firefighters. Again, they're waiting for the medical examiner's office to arrive here and retrieve the bodies of those 2 people before they can even be identified. As for the cause of the crash, well, that is under investigation this morning. And it is worth pointing out that this intersection is the same intersection where police pursuit ended with the suspect crashing into another car, killing a man here at this intersection. So neighbors here likely stunned to see something just as awful happen out here, another deadly crash at Lindley and Roscoe. We are working to get new information. We'll bring it to you when we do.
Oh my gosh, Ange Carter. My ex killed 1 kid and partially paralyzed another, drunk and T-boned them. Only difference is I got clean and sober, and she unfortunately could not. Oh my gosh. Yes, this was Friday night into Saturday morning, yes. So this news clip is from the morning after.
Well, Rachel and Sheba, right now I can tell you LAPD Chief Michael Moore is out here, and there is what appears to be a flag possible presentation that is set to take place. So investigators have not told us yet who died in this crash. We know 2 people were killed, but at this point, we can presume that it was someone important to bring out the Los Angeles police chief and to have this sort of presentation happening here at the scene as one of these tow trucks removes one of those cars that crashed into this apartment building. We can show you some video also from overnight of what happened here.
And so let me just back up a second. So again, this is the car that ended up between the apartment complex and the tree. The car that caused the collision.
Overnight of what happened here. This was just after 1 this morning. 2 cars involved in this wreck. One of them sheared off a fire hydrant, sending a geyser into the air well above this 3-story apartment building here. That black sedan, it appears to be, is what crashed into that apartment building. We're not sure if anyone was inside that may have been injured or at least witnessed what happened there, but there was also another car involved. We're not sure how many people were in each vehicle, but the fire department tells us that 3 people had to be cut free from the wreckage. They were rushed to the hospital with at least serious injuries. That is what the fire department told us earlier this morning. Neighbors we talked with say they are not surprised to hear of another deadly crash at this intersection. This is Roscoe Boulevard and Lindley Avenue. They say there have been other deadly crashes here before. They, of course, are.
And so, Lisa, I'm curious, since this is near where you are there a lot of accidents at this intersection? Oh, and you kind of answered my question. Unfortunately, we get a lot of street racing on Roscoe, even at around 11 p.m. Roscoe was pretty dead. Oh gosh, Kathy, my son lost his best friend and his best friend's brother because a repeat drunk driver chose to drive with no license and drunk again. Both were killed, and the dude didn't even know he hit anyone. He was so drunk. It was awful. Oh my word. Oh my gosh, Chronicles. I was T-boned, and the only thing that saved my life was not having my seatbelt on. Wow. Oh, so no cops around like ever.
Saddened. One woman we talked with says she's upset by it, but not surprised.
Don't know what really they could do. It's a difficult, it's a 3-lane highway, right? Both sides. I would just tell people to slow down. I don't know. I see cars race around me.
And you can see where this car jumped the curb and ended up shearing whatever this was, and then ended up between that little tree and concrete.
All the time.
So the LA County Medical Examiner's Office is here as well, and you're looking live now as LAFD and LAPD are holding an American flag, appearing to be ready for some sort of ceremonial move out here. Again, I can tell you LAPD Chief Michael Moore is here on scene as well. So we are awaiting an update from police. They say they will provide information at a news conference this morning at the coroner's office. We have another KCAL News crew there as well. So we are working to find out exactly who died in this crash. 2 people killed, 3 people seriously injured. Again, it happened around 1 this morning, and we are waiting that information. We are monitoring what is happening here at the scene as well, and we will give you updates as soon as we learn.
Oh my gosh, AMAC. I work off a real long straight road that's all distribution centers, so people race there all the time. So many memorials for people who have died along that road. Oh, I'm so sorry, Nurse Bev. Nurse Bev says, my 16-year-old brother died in the passenger seat of a car my drunk brother was driving. Another brother decided to ride his motorcycle while drunk, crashed, and died. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Nurse Bev. Like, how? I can't imagine. Lisa says, I found out yesterday one of our hockey players was killed by a drunk driver. He was hit on his motorcycle on Sunday and passed away on Thursday. Ugh. Yeah, Kathy P. It can be true about the seatbelt. I have a girl that I went to high school with was in a car accident, and the seatbelt is what killed her because the impact of the crash, the seatbelt cut her carotid, and that's how she died. So, it saves more lives than it doesn't. But if not for wearing her seatbelt, this girl would have survived. Oh my goodness, Chronicles. I was driving a Mustang and it was caved in like a can on the driver's side. Luckily, I flew over to the passenger seat. If my seatbelt was on, I wouldn't be here. Oh my gosh. It's crazy. Oh no, Nurse Bev. You were 10 when your brother died. My parents thought it was a good idea for me to go to his funeral. It wasn't. Oh my gosh. So the next clip I have is of the press conference. And I believe it's the press conference. Yes, news conference.
Sadly, earlier this morning, a traffic collision occurred at the intersection of Lindley Avenue and Roscoe Boulevard. This collision resulted in the death of 2 individuals and injuries to the 3 others that were involved. One of those killed, I regret to say, was an off-duty Los Angeles police officer Daryl Cunningham, who was the driver of one of those 2 vehicles involved. The information I'm providing right now is preliminary. It's based on what we know at this point.
And I apologize for the volume. That is how it is. Hopefully it's able to be heard.
Early on in this investigation, our investigation is being conducted by our major collision investigation team known as MSET. They'll conduct a forensic level investigation of the crime scene itself, the vehicles that were involved. We'll also interview all available witnesses to this event. And I'll ask for the public's help. If anyone witnessed anything regarding this collision, to please reach out to the police department. We do believe that there are others that will likely have seen some portion of this accident or events preceding it. MSET will present their findings of their investigation to the District Attorney's Office for prosecution. Based on the information we have right now, we believe that Officer Cunningham was driving northbound on Lindley Avenue with 2 other occupants, one in his white Infiniti, as he approached Roscoe Boulevard. This occurred about 1:15 this morning. From the information gathered at this point, we believe that the driver of the second vehicle, a black 4-door BMW, identified as Brian David Oliveri, a male, 20 years of age, failed to stop for the red tri-light signal at that intersection, striking the passenger side of Officer Cunningham's white Infiniti, killing Officer Cunningham and the right front passenger that was also in that vehicle. We are not identifying that passenger at this point, pending notification of next of kin.
And as of this morning, I had not seen any more updates in regards to who the passenger was. So if anyone does have any information, please let me know, but I wasn't able to find anything as of this morning.
This collision also injured the rear passenger of that white Infiniti, of Officer Cunningham's vehicle. That individual was also a law enforcement officer, an off-duty San Bernardino deputy sheriff. At the aftermath of that collision, the passenger in Brian Oliveri's car, a female, was able to exit that vehicle on her own. All others were trapped because of the force and the level of damage created by this horrific collision. LA Fire and LA Police personnel responded, and LA Fire utilized the jaws of life and other equipment to rescue the lone survivor of Officer Cunningham's vehicle, as well as Brian Oliveri himself. Both Oliveri, as well as his passenger, and our surviving victim from Officer Cunningham's vehicle, are all presently at a nearby hospital suffering a range of injuries, including the driver, Brian Oliveri, in critical condition and unconscious. The second, the officer in the back seat, the off-duty officer, I visited bedside with him. He's got a broken hip and other serious injuries. However, it appears that he will survive. And then the female that was in Oliveri's car, it appears that the level of injuries that she suffered serious, but she will also survive those injuries. From the
And it's amazing, if she suffered serious injuries, that she was able to leave the car on her own.
Investigation on scene, I understand the following. Based on the physical evidence, we believe the vehicle driven by Mr. Oliveri was going more than 100 miles per hour at the time of the collision. We believe that Oliveri failed to stop for the red tri-light as he drove into that intersection. And based on the preliminary information gathered, it appears that Oliveri was under the influence of alcohol at the time of this collision. Now, there remains much more work to be done on this investigation. However, Mr. Oliveri will be booked for gross vehicular manslaughter and additional charges as further evidence is gathered. Officer Cunningham is survived by his fiancée and a 6-year-old and 3-year-old young boys, a mother and 2 other brothers. Los Angeles Police Department, we're grieving in his loss, as well as the partner, the fellow occupant of this vehicle. In talking with those that are on scene, these are all individuals that were known to each other as lifelong friends. We had other individuals respond to the scene, as well as I met a young man at Northridge Hospital who had heard through the rumor mill about Daryl's loss. And they're all taking this, as you would expect, very hard in a very unbelievable set of circumstances and a senseless tragedy. I am proud of the men and women of this department who not only are conducting this investigation in a fair and impartial way, but in a thorough fashion to aggressively prosecute the individual we believe responsible for this senseless loss of life. But I'm also grateful for others that have rallied in support of West LA Station and the men and women who worked alongside Daryl. Daryl had just under 5 years on the job. He worked as recently as 2 nights ago. He's described as hardworking, honest, a person you could go to get the job done, with a great attitude. So as a department, we're grieving today, but we will work through this and we'll hold the line and we'll work in tribute to the reputation that he held and the work that he did in protecting the citizens of this great city. At this time, I'd like to introduce Commission President, Dr. Earl Suthers.
And Spudler, I don't know the laws in US, but in UK, it is now illegal to touch your phone while in the car, in the driving seat with the engine on. I know, at least in New York State, it is illegal to text and drive. We are a hands-free state, meaning you are able to use your phone, but you are only able to use your phone without holding it. So my car, I have my phone connected through Bluetooth. So my car will take incoming calls, or I can make outgoing calls using my car. I do not text while driving. That is one thing I don't do. But my car will read incoming texts to me.
Thank you, Chief. There are no words at a time like this. On behalf of the Los Angeles Board of Police Commissioners and the Mayor of the City of Los Angeles, we offer our deepest condolences for this incredibly tragic loss. The Chief has extended all available resources to family, friends, colleagues of the officers. And I would ask that if you're watching this, that you take a moment just to acknowledge and recognize the incredible men and women of this department and how quickly they can be taken from us at a time like this. Again, I just want to say thank you for their service. Thank you for what they do every single day. We will go to whatever length it takes to extend our support and resources as they move through this grieving time to get past and respect the service that these officers have provided to the City of Los Angeles. Thank you.
Before I take any questions, 2 other aspects I want to address. First of all, I want to thank Captain John Cadis of the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office. The captain has provided us with the opportunity to pay our respects in the transportation of Officer Cunningham, as well as in the other, his friend that also died in this terrible collision. I spoke with Mayor Bass. We've been in communications all morning since this tragedy occurred. She extends her heartfelt condolences and was moved by just the senseless nature of this tragedy, of this crime, of an individual acting in such a reckless fashion, and the terrible toll that is taken with the loss of these 2 lives. So with that, I'll again caution you that we're very early in this investigation. I've provided a substantial amount of details already, so I don't know that there's much more I can provide to you, but we will update and committed to updating you as information develops. Any other questions?
Okay, so I did quickly look up. So Nurse Bev had said she thought it was $600 fine and 3 points on your license if caught. So in New York State, it is 5 points on your license And a fine for the first offense can range anywhere from $50 to $200. The second offense, if committed within 18 months, is a fine of $50 to $250. And for a third or subsequent offense committed within 18 months, $50 to $450. But 5 points on your license.
Any questions? You said the driver of the fast car was 20 years old?
I understand he's 20 years of age. It's a four-door black BMW that is at scene. Our investigation will, of course, conduct a forensic level investigation to validate and demonstrate while he was trapped in the vehicle in the driver's seat that he was operating, as well as the condition such as the black box is the speed of this. There's evidence already gathered beyond the enormity of this crash that supports my statement that the vehicle was traveling in excess of 100 miles an hour.
Do we know if he had any priors?
I don't have the criminal history or background of this individual at this time.
And the fact that he was underage for alcohol, does that make the charges potentially any greater?
Well, I think this is the gross vehicular manslaughter aggravating factors of this, such as alcohol impairment and any prior criminal conduct, of course, would all be added into the severity. But it unfortunately will not bring Daryl back or his friend. But rest assured, to those that would think that instances of DUI is an accident, it's not an accident. You don't drive down Roscoe Boulevard at over 100 miles an hour red tri-light as an accident. That's willful and gross.
Yeah, I agree. It's willful, deliberate. Yes.
Negligence and criminality in the sense of reverence for other people's lives. Anyone?
Chief,
Yes.
First off, very sorry for the loss of your officer. The passenger that was in his vehicle in the backseat, was he? Does he work for LAPD?
I'm sorry. He is an off-duty San Bernardino sheriff deputy. I spoke with him. Actually, him and Daryl came on the respective departments. He told me this morning, he chose the sheriff's department in San Bernardino, while Daryl chose LAPD. But they were friends and colleagues that hung out together. Were friend. He was devastated by his loss, and I also spoke with the sheriff in San Bernardino, and this morning as well, to assure him that we're doing everything we can to take care of his partner, of his deputy, and the sheriff's department is also responding with personnel to support him as well.
And Officer Cunningham, what division did he work at?
I'm sorry, he worked West LA Station. He worked the patrol division, and he worked what we call Watch 3, which is the overnight shift.
Would the person that sold the alcohol be charged directly to the death of the officer?
It's unclear. Again, we're going to allow this investigation to take its course as to liability and those that would be involved.
And I'm curious, Lisa, too, if it was a street race, I'm wondering if there are cameras. You probably would know better. And if there were other cars involved that left the scene, that would be interesting to also know.
Brought into this by their negligence or contributing factors. All right. Last question. Anything? All right. Very good. Thank you all. Appreciate you coming out.
Okay, so I have one last clip that we're going to take a look at, and this talks about Officer Cunningham and a little bit more about the accident.
We are following developing news in Northridge. That's where an off-duty LAPD officer is one of 2 people killed overnight after a suspected drunk driver caused that crash.
Yeah, also an off-duty San Bernardino officer was injured in that same crash. Let's go to Omar Lewis. He's there in the Valley Forest with more. Omar?
Yeah, Rick and Corrine, just a tragic situation that unfolded right here behind us at this intersection of Roscoe Boulevard and Lindley Avenue. You can see the aftermath. Some of these cars parked along the street were damaged. A fire hydrant was also burst. That was the aftermath left behind from this crash. It happened overnight just around 1:15 here at this intersection that caused 2 people to be killed and 3 others left injured. The LAPD officer who was killed has been identified as Daryl Cunningham. He's been an officer with the LAPD for nearly 5 years in the West LA division. According to police, Officer Cunningham was driving northbound on Lindley in a white Infiniti with 2 passengers in the car. That's when a 20-year-old driver identified as Brian Oliveri ran a red light and crashed right into Officer Cunningham's car, killing the officer and another passenger inside. Police say Oliveri was driving at over 100 miles an hour and was allegedly under the influence when this crash happened. A second passenger in Officer Cunningham's car was identified as an off-duty San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputy. He's now in critical condition but expected to survive. The suspect in this case, Brian.
And so you can see in this photo, like, this car was just, I mean, quite a precarious location. And I believe this is the video where they show the car, or they show what the woman who lived in this apartment saw, or how close it was, I should say. They don't show the car, but they show how close the car came to coming into her kitchen.
Brian Oliveri is unconscious in critical condition. He faces gross vehicular manslaughter charges, and more charges could be coming pending further investigation. The passenger in his car was able to free herself from the wreckage this evening. The LAPD says they are grieving because of this senseless crash. Take a listen.
Officer Cunningham is survived by his fiancee and a 6-year-old and 3-year-old young boys. A mother and 2 other brothers. The Los Angeles Police Department, we're grieving in his loss, as well as the partner, the fellow occupant of this vehicle. In talking with those that are on scene, these are all individuals that were known to each other as lifelong friends.
The suspect's BMW crashed into a nearby apartment
And so you can see where the car ended up was just outside this apartment. Yes, Karen, there's nasty laws in New York for parents driving with their kids. I believe it's called Leandra's Law. I have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure it's Leandra's Law. My friend's daughter was driving home slightly above the legal limit. She went to school to teach and can't now. Yes, I believe, I'm going to look up that quick. Leandra's Law. Oops. Yes. So Leandra's Law, actually, I'm going to share this instead quickly. So Leandra's Law was passed in November 2009. And again, this is New York State. A new anti-impaired law has 2 major components: to toughen the penalties for driving impaired with children, to require interlock devices for those convicted. So it says first-time offenders driving while intoxicated, 0.08 blood alcohol content or more, or impaired by drugs while a child of younger than 16 years old is in the vehicle may be charged with a Class E felony, punishable up to 4 years in state prison. Individuals charged with driving with a BAC level of 0.08 or greater and with a child under the age of 16 in the vehicle would automatically have their license suspended pending prosecution. And then it kind of goes into drivers who drive while intoxicated or impaired by drugs and cause the death of a child younger than 16 in the car may be charged with a Class B felony, punishable by up to 25 years in state prison. So, cause serious physical injury to a child, Class C felony, punishable up to 15 years in state prison. So I will actually put this in the chat as well if anybody's interested, but this is the law for New York State. Yeah, it is a very brutal law.
As I mentioned, a fire hydrant and several parked cars were damaged in the crash. We spoke to one resident who says the car tire was nearly in her kitchen sink, and another who said the crash sounded like a bomb went off. Take a listen.
I was getting out of the bathroom, and then I just hear really it was shaking. Like the whole building was shaking. And then after that, I just hear a loud boom, like an explosion. I thought the car went through our house or something.
As for that San Bernardino County deputy, he has a broken hip and other serious injuries, but again is expected to survive. The passenger in Officer Cunningham's car who was killed has not been identified at this moment, but again, police say that additional charges could be coming for that 20-year-old driver. That is a very...
So again, a 20-year-old took the life of 2 people, injured another, also injured himself and his passenger, and for what? So that's as much as oh, thank you, Lisa. So let me go to email. Lisa, I haven't gotten it yet. I'll keep checking, but I don't see it right now. So I will look. Yes, and I will find that link is from Rensselaer County, which is Rensselaer is east of Albany, but it does have some other, information if you're interested. So this next story is out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And again, a reckless driver who is now suspected of being under the influence hit this car with 3 friends who were coming home from a concert, and all 3 lost their lives. And this again, I do have it on, but viewer discretion advised.
New information about a violent car crash that killed 3 people in Milwaukee this morning. That is where we start this hour. Police say a 23-year-old man driving on West Florist Avenue was speeding when he disregarded a blinking red light and collided with another vehicle, killing all 3 people inside. 12 News' Madison Moore is joining us live from the scene. Madison, loved ones stopped by this morning. This is such a devastating story.
It is, and there are loved ones that are here right now. Actually, Deanna, a few stopped by this morning, but a lot of friends of the victims are here right now mourning the loss of their friends. They tell me that the group was heading home from a concert, and they have identified the 3 victims. They say 28-year-old Bobby Dyson, who went by Tasha, was killed in this crash. 28-year-old Ebony Johnson, who friends say was cousins with Tasha, and 31-year-old LaShonda Jackson. Now, neighbors in the area also reacting this morning to the news.
In your mind, it's like, how did that happen? Like, why does that car look like not a car? Like, looks like scrap, a heap of scrap from here. So that's 3 people dead at once. That's, I don't know. I guess I'm speechless.
Well, Milwaukee police say the crash happened just before 2:15 this morning when a 23-year-old man in a gray Toyota was speeding and failed to stop for a blinking red light on Florist. The driver.
And so you can see the car as they're dragging it. Like that woman said, it's like a piece of scrap metal. It doesn't even look like a car anymore.
struck a white Nissan traveling south on Sherman. Police say the impact of the crash sent the Nissan into a tree and ejected the 28-year-old driver.
And so here's the offender's car. Notice how there is much less damage, even though the front end pretty much was probably ended up in the driver's seat. But again, compared to the other car, minimal damage.
She later died at the hospital. Police said the two other passengers in the Nissan, a 28-year-old and 31-year-old, died here at the scene. Now, police say that the 23-year-old...
Like, look at that. You can just see the impact that other car caused because they were driving recklessly.
Suspect was intoxicated and ran away from the crash, but he was later arrested and taken to the hospital for his own injuries. And that neighbor I spoke with, she tells me that reckless driving at this intersection has been an ongoing issue.
People are not following the law. Very simple. If you follow the law, it keeps you safe, keeps me safe. But no, in this case, and how terrible that car looks, and no brakes, no nothing, to me, that's concerning in itself. And I feel like our city representatives need to do something about this intersection.
Such a devastating story. Madison, the 23-year-old man is now facing multiple charges.
Right. Police telling us that he faces OWI charges along with hit and run charges and reckless homicide, among a number of other charges that 23-year-old is facing. The police tell us that those charges are pending review by the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office.
This is still a developing story. More details to come later on this evening on 12 News at 4. Madison Moore reporting live for us in Milwaukee.
So I believe the next one, so I have the third one. I actually have to go to YouTube to watch. For some reason, it's bizarre. It doesn't allow me to copy and paste it into a slideshow, but this one is from Fox 6.
Got new details about an overnight crash that killed 3 women.
Our Zoe Chapala joins us live now, where loved ones are gathering to remember them today.
Angry, sad, and in disbelief are how loved ones are describing their reaction to this incredible loss. Others are wondering when enough is going to be enough.
I'm in bed. My bedroom is right there.
David Cooper says he was sleeping when he first heard brakes screeching and then a sudden slam.
I came to the conclusion, I heard the noise, and I jumped up because I thought somebody had hit my house again.
It was a car that crashed into the tree in Cooper's front yard.
I think I was about the third person, and then I called the police, and by that time, the people started coming up.
Police say 28-year-old Ebony Johnson was in the car with 31-year-old LaShonda Jackson and 28-year-old Bobby Latasha Nicole Dyson. They were driving near Florist Avenue and Sherman Boulevard early Friday morning. That's when Milwaukee police say a 23-year-old man ran a stoplight, crashing into their car.
I'm just on this corner.
And then you can see it looks like it's either a telephone pole or a power pole or a tree that their car ended up against.
Accident all the time. You know, but that's the first time somebody died on this. You know, since I've been here since 2001.
A 2022 Milwaukee Public Works Department report shows the number of traffic-related.
So here's the car that caused it. Again, significant front-end damage. But then you go to the car that the girls were in. Significant damage. Doesn't seem fair.
Works Department report shows the number of traffic-related deaths involving drivers, bikers, and pedestrians skyrocketed since 2013.
They just let it run the light, and they just be driving reckless.
In 2013, 32 people died. In 2022, nearly 90 people died.
I run the light there all the time. Okay. Going that way, and it's speed. It's like this freeway or something.
Now, we just missed it, but they just released all of those balloons in remembrance of those women. As far as we know, the man that is accused of killing and hitting these 3 women is in custody. However, charges are not showing up at this time. In Milwaukee, Zoe Chapala, Fox 6 News.
Okay, so there's one more that has, yes, we have to go to YouTube for this one. So this is, they speak with some of the family members of those who were killed.
10, I'm Charles Benson. We begin with a night out that ended in tragedy. 3 women becoming the latest victims to reckless driving in Milwaukee. They died in a crash early this morning when police say a driver ran a red light at Sherman and Flores and then slammed into their car. Sean Gallagher shows us how family and friends are coping with this tremendous loss.
The evidence of this crash at Sherman and Florist is still here. The spray paint from crash reconstruction, along with debris, broken glass, and car parts that dot the street and the lawn here. But family and friends came to celebrate the lives of 3 women gone too soon.
Y'all took somebody special.
Pain filled the autumn air near Sherman and Florist Friday night. Family and friends left with nothing but memories after Ebony Johnson, Bobby Dyson, and LaShonda Jackson were killed on their way home from a concert early.
Like, I can't, and I understand that some of that is probably from the jaws of life having to extricate the girls, but that car does not even look like a car.
Friday morning.
I'll never see my daughter again. Well, next time I see her, I'll be looking at her in the casket. I can't get the image out of my head.
For Jamal, it's his cousin.
And it took 3 innocent people's lives that was trying to go home.
And Kim Giles without her niece.
I feel like she got stolen from us. She was stolen from us. Plain and simple, she was stolen from us.
These 3 lives all cut short by a driver who blew a red light. Including these 3 women, 6 people have been killed near this intersection since 2018, according to state statistics.
And it's just senseless. Now you have 3 more families that's grieving and have to bury their loved ones because of this senseless and reckless driving.
The cuts in this tree from the crash as fresh as the cuts to the hearts of loved ones figuring out a life without these 3 women.
She spreaded love everywhere. You know what I'm saying? She was very compassionate. She was very caring. She was family bonded for real. Family was everything for her.
The 23-year-old driver of that vehicle will have charges filed against him within the next few days. Near Sherman and Flores, Sean Gallagher, TMJ4 News.
It's terrible. So the last story that I have for you is one that I just came upon. Thankfully, no one was killed in this accident. It is incredible that no one was. There were several injuries, but this is from Thule, Utah. And it's about 8 minute, an 8-minute video. They have news clips all together. So this one is just crazy. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Let me look before we get to that. Oh, yes. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to actually share this really quickly before we get to that next story. So this map is going to be in regards to the first story where the LAPD officer was killed along with his passenger. And so this is the intersection where that happened. You see Lindley Ave is north to south. Roscoe Boulevard is east to west. And so it was in this intersection where that occurred. And this is actually where my cat is now. That is the apartment complex where the BMW ended up between the tree and the building. So you can, it is very residential. And then I'm thinking this is, Northridge Middle School is in the top right corner. So very hospital just down the street. So yeah, very residential. So thank you, Lisa. Oh, red dot is the accident to the left. You'll see Dignity Hospital to the left on Roscoe. Oh yeah, here's Dignity Hospital. Yep. Thank you for that. Okay, so we're going to go back to... Hey, T. Marie. So in the first story I did of the LAPD officer who lost his life, his passenger also was killed. A third passenger in his car is in serious condition but expected to survive. In the car that caused the collision, the driver is in critical condition and his passenger also survived and has serious injuries. In the second story, so the 3 women who were killed by the suspected drunk driver who ran a red light, that driver did survive. The three girls did not. All right, so this is dash cam video. So again, I believe this happened within the last week. Actually, it looks like it happened November 3rd. So actually a couple of days ago. And I just happened upon this dash cam video and I started watching it and I was like, holy heck. So we're going to just take a look at this and then I'll give some last thoughts before I say goodbye for now.
Just chaos everywhere. It was insane.
New video of a runaway semi as it leaves a trail of destruction
It all just happened so fast.
along Main Street in Tooele.
Went to those cars that are flipped over and looked smashed to make sure they were clear or alive or needed to be pulled out.
Okay, so I was definitely saying the name wrong. It's Tooele. I was saying Thule. Definitely not I was not saying the correct pronunciation. It is not Thule, it is Tooele.
Crashing into dozens of cars.
So scary, that semi coming at you that fast. Like I said, I closed my eyes and said my prayers.
Before slamming into a car dealership and bursting into flames.
Other cars started exploding. It was pandemonium.
A shocking scene. Now.
And so you can see where he, out of control. You can see just the carnage in his wake.
Clear as the investigation begins.
It's going to be several days before we can get this all sorted out.
New at 10 dashcam video captures the moment that semi hit several cars as it was speeding out of control down the main street in Tooele.
Maybe a miracle here that nobody was killed, but this video shows just how it could have ended very differently. Take a look here. You can see just seconds before.
And so here you can see this. I saw this person running across the street. And so he's running across the street. Here comes this truck barreling down. And the driver, I'm assuming, was trying to avoid hitting those people at the stoplight. So he went into opposing traffic, but at the same time ended up hitting nearly a dozen cars and also running into several cars in the car dealership.
Before the semi comes flying through the intersection, a person runs across the street there. The big rig with a full load of gravel then slams into several cars, stopped at the light.
My God.
Similar scene playing out at 2 other intersections immediately south of the one you're looking at.
And thankfully, I just noticed too that this
intersections immediately south.
This one car that must have the green arrow realizes that this semi is barreling towards the intersection and stops. And then there's another car coming from the left that also realizes what's happening and stops.
Of the one you're looking at. Here's a breakdown. 3 vehicles were hit at Vine and Main, 2 more at 400 North, and finally 27 vehicles hit at 1000.
Oh, shoot. Okay, so I didn't realize this. So he had hit 3 here, 2 here, and 27 vehicles here. Insane. Oh, I know, right? Spitfire, like just seeing that image, I was like, holy crap. Holy crap. Yes, there was a guy running across the street. And give me just 1 second. The sun is like blinding me. I need to just shut the curtain quick. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. I couldn't even see my computer screen. The sun was so bright.
North and Main Street as a semi left the road, went through a car dealership and then slammed into the Ford building. That is a total of 33 vehicles damaged, including the semi.
We have team coverage from Tooele tonight. Andrew.
And so here, you can see where he went through the car dealership and ended up hitting the building where it burst into flames. It's crazy.
Andrew Adams is talking with those who saw the semi ignite into a ball of flame.
Yeah, I'm wondering too. I actually didn't watch this entire video. I just knew I was going to show it. So I'm hoping they do say what, may have occurred. I'm sure they're still investigating, but super, super scary.
Flames.
We're going to start things off, though, with Lauren Steinbrecher and some drivers who feel extremely lucky to even be alive tonight. Lauren?
Mike, lucky and thankful. Can you imagine just watching that semi barreling toward you? There's nothing that you can do. Tonight, hours later, you can see crews are still on scene here. They are boarding up that building, that dealership that caught fire, just part of the path of destruction left behind by that semi's rampage.
The crunch of cleanup taking hours to undo.
It was insane.
What complete chaos created in a split second.
I see a semi coming straight at me.
Tony Garner braced for impact, not knowing if he'd survive.
I closed my eyes and said my prayers. I didn't.
Holy shit. Look at that. Like,
I think I was going to see my kids, my family. So, yeah.
A semi hauling 2 trailers full of gravel slammed into him at 1000 North Main. Dash cam from social media showing what he could feel.
Yep. And someone had asked about the person running across the street. So I'm going to actually, I got to back up just a little more.
At 1000 North Main. Dash cam from social media showing.
So here you can see there is someone running across the street. And again, not sure if he's, I believe that this person was probably running across the street because it's a 6-lane highway and he wasn't sure when the light would turn green. Possibly he saw this truck, but
what he could feel. The out-of-control truck had already crashed into cars at 2 other intersections before sailing through this one after police believe the brakes gave out a mile south of here.
Okay, so the brakes gave out a mile south. So he had already hit cars prior to here. And so they believe, so the driver was doing what he could to hopefully not cause death.
I look up and I see the semi coming literally up. Janet Robinson was a few cars behind Tony.
It had gone airborne. Is what I saw. I just saw this big thing coming.
She also had no choice but to brace.
The gal in front of me had been hit a couple of times, and I see her spinning towards my car.
The semi then hit a car dealership, the truck and building bursting into flames.
Big plumes of black smoke, and a second explosion hit.
Tony realized he was okay and began to help others who were trapped.
There was a police officer there, like an angel appeared. So I'm like, thank you, thank
Holy
God.
shit.
People pulling.
And to think that no one lost their lives is nothing short of miraculous, in my opinion. And I'm wondering if this is that man's car, because I don't know, I'm thinking these are one of his cars, but to think that no one was killed is, like I said, miraculous.
So I'm like, thank you, thank God.
People pulling together in those frantic moments. Quick action in the aftermath.
It was just so chaotic and so scary.
I talked to Tooele Police tonight to get an update. They say that one person is still in critical condition after being airlifted to Salt Lake. 11 people total hospitalized from these crashes. Now, the semi-driver is actually not one of those people. It sounds like he was okay and got out of that without any injuries, Mike and Dini.
That's amazing, but it's hard to imagine what you'd think in those moments as you see that big semi headed right toward you. Lauren, thanks. As you heard in her story, a couple of police officers.
And so this is just another view of, the scene, which is.
We're right in the middle of all this mess. They quickly radioed for all available first responders, leaving even some seasoned law enforcement officers in disbelief of what they were seeing.
I've never seen anything like this. The patrol lieutenant and I actually witnessed this happen. So very scary accident. It's going to be several days before we can get this all sorted out because of the amount of people that were involved, the amount of vehicles that were involved.
We now know 11 people were hurt. One had to be flown to the hospital in critical condition. And as Lauren said, amazingly, the semi driver was not seriously injured. Viewers sent us video of the truck after it started on fire. They tell us they heard multiple explosions after the semi hit the buildings. Flames left several cars charred from the heat.
We got exclusive video from Shopper 5 here showing the.
Holy shit. I didn't realize how far it was from the highway to the actual car dealership building. So this gives a better perspective, so you can see where he hit the cars here trying to avoid, and he went straight through until he hit that building.
The trail of destruction, you can see it right here as it's making its way up there, leading into the Tooele Motor Company show lot there. News specialist Andrew Adams continues her team coverage tonight. Andrew, you spoke to workers tonight describing really what was a chaotic scene.
Really was, Mike. And you could imagine on a weekend day, a nice day, temperatures in the 60s, that people would be actually out here looking at cars. But workers say, unbelievably, nobody was hurt in a chain of events that ended right there and left everyone stunned.
It all kind of turned to a blur.
In the middle of a Friday afternoon,
it all just happened so fast,
calamity arrived at the car lot.
Quick as lightning, the truck came, hit a group of cars right here. That car over there kind of went up on the side of another one.
Workers watched in disbelief.
It careened off to the left, went through, started hitting through cars.
As an out-of-control semi barreled into the parking lot and rolled toward the dealership.
As it was still traveling, it had caught fire.
And there were few words.
Crazy.
And those inside the building saw it coming for them.
And I just heard everyone start screaming. I saw the truck hit the door, and everyone just started running.
The scene was chaotic.
All you could see is the truck on fire, and the whole building is on fire.
Other cars started exploding. It was pandemonium.
Somewhere out of the ashes came action.
We ran down to the service bays that are located in the back, kind of clearing out everyone, asking, hey, is everyone okay? Get out of the building, get out of the building.
I was able to come up here and kind of start triage and evaluate patients.
The workers here are just grateful.
And so, I mean, significant damage to the dealership as well. But again, the fact that no one inside was injured or anyone in the lot injured is amazing.
Nobody was hurt on the property.
It was definitely a team effort for everybody.
And as they come to terms,
How something so horrific could have happened.
they're relieved it didn't end worse.
Just really crazy for this to happen.
It was definitely scary. Nothing I've ever been through before.
Well, the damage was considerable. Police say between the road and the lot combined, at least 27 cars saw damage, and they believe that toll could potentially go up, a very high toll in that regard. Thankfully, nobody hurt in this lot. Back to you.
Yeah, the damage is incredible. But again, we go back to the lives here. Just so grateful nobody died from this. Andrew, thank you. The mayor of Tooele releasing a statement tonight thanking everyone who jumped in to help out, from first responders to community members.
And just to think, if not for that dash cam, it would be, you would be able to know what happened, but to actually see what happened, and especially this car also had the rear view cam to give that perspective.
She also said her heartfelt sympathies are with the victims and their families who have suffered as a result of this unfortunate incident. Our thoughts and prayers are with them, and I pray for their full recovery. KSL team was the first on scene in Tooele this afternoon, and we're also the first ones to alert you about the crash through our app. Be sure to download the free KSL Plus app to get updates on this breaking news as we continue following the investigation.
All right, so those are the stories that I have for you today. That last one, I mean, just like I said, miraculous that no one was killed. And I hope that the victim that was airlifted to the hospital is expected to survive. But just a crazy accident. And to know that this truck had hit vehicles prior to this intersection, scary all the way around. So with that being said, I appreciate everyone for being here. It was sad, but also important, in my opinion, to tell the stories. I will be live later at 7 p.m. with a members only. I set it up through YouTube Studio, but it's not showing up on StreamYard. So I may have to delete the one that's there now and reschedule it, but just know that it will still be at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I don't have anything planned. So we'll kind of just shoot the breeze and see where it takes us. Oh no, Wise Angel. Sending prayers of healing to all involved and to Ikadmel, whose friend has just passed away. That's so sad. Oh my gosh, yes. Lots of good vibes and thoughts going their way. So I hope everyone has a great rest of your morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you may be. I have some family stuff to do, but I will be back later, so I hope to see you all then. If not, have a great day, and I will see you all on the flip side.